Well, thanks a lot for staying with us here on Sunrise Live on E on this Hope Day Wednesday. Really a very important topic of discussion we're about to delve into this morning. Hot, drenching at many instances, because in 2013 it was reported that a child goes missing every 5 hours in South Africa. Now that is according to the Missing Persons Bureau of South Africa. That add up to a total of 1,697 children, as well as thousands of families which were left shattered, confused and forever marked by an event that will follow them for the rest of their lives. Now, Missing Children South Africa recent statistics paint an even more depressing picture, where they are articulating about how only 9% of children who are found are actually deceased. Now, not every child is lucky enough to be reunited with their parents, and even if they are, it's not always under the best circumstances. So joining us this morning to speak more really about the effects of missing persons in South Africa, but most importantly, capacitating you as a parent, as a caregiver, as a guardian with the information you need so that we can prevent such measures from taking place. We are joined via Skype by Bianca van Aswegen, who is from Missing Children South Africa, and in studio we have Colonel Stephanus de Venter, who is from the Missing Persons Bureau of the South African Police Service. Now, to be part of our conversation, remember to give us a call on 011 447 1642, alternatively 1620, and you can leave your comments on our Facebook as well as our Twitter pages. We're going to be crossing to Bianca a little bit later on, but I think I want to bring you into this conversation here, Stephanus, is that we're speaking a little bit off air about the perception of community members with regards to the police and their ability to come to aid. In fact, you were saying that many a times people would run to NGOs for assistance, so for example, like Missing Persons, instead of running straight to the police station to get actual help from the police. Why was that the case?
I think the biggest misconception, the biggest misconception is that the police are not the people don't believe that the police are there to look for missing persons, because there's no crime involved regionally. We wouldn't suspect a crime until we find a person. And then there was adverse feelings towards the police because of the past and all those things and whatever. But the Bureau for Missing Persons was established in 1994, and since then the people started realizing that the only place that there will be investigation, a thorough investigation. That's why the Bureau for Missing Persons was established in the police, not to curb a crime, which we're supposed to do, but to safeguard our communities and our children. And the reason for that is finding missing children is actually preventing any criminal activity happening against them. And so the community comes forward, or came forward, and they are reporting now. Not that I say everybody is reporting, but I think we're winning the race, and we must get into cooperation agreements with the NGOs, like we have with Missing Children South Africa, where they make sure that when somebody is reported to them, it's already reported to the police. Because the investigation, each town has got a police station. When you report to your nearest police station that your child is missing, there will be investigation done. There's procedures put in place in the police service via the Bureau for Missing Persons to assist you as a parent, to guide you through the whole process, and the Bureau for emotional support, and the NGOs for distribution of the information to the general public, to be our eyes and ears and whatever. So it's a win-win situation as far as I'm concerned.
We're going to touch base on the statistics, because in the latest statistics they're actually showing that there's been a decrease in the number of children that have been found. So in other words, that children are not necessarily being found, but on the other side of the SAPS, you guys are recording about a 70 to 80%, 76 to 80% chance of actually finding the children. So we're going to just look at those varying statistics. I want to bring in Bianca van Aswegen from Missing Children South Africa into this conversation. She's joining us via Skype. Thanks a lot, Bianca, for joining us this morning. Now, just looking at the figures that are currently sitting in South Africa. Now, these figures that we were just articulating a little bit earlier on are from 2013. But in 2017, how are things looking like, especially when it comes to missing children?
Hi, good morning. Yes, we've got one child that goes missing every 5 hours in South Africa. So it's a very alarming rate of children actually disappearing in our country.
Now, when we're looking at where those children actually go, has it been established that if a child goes missing, the likelihood are that they've been abducted, or it's by a family member, or it's human trafficking? What are those categories? Where do the children go should they go missing?
We've got different categories why children actually go missing. The main one is our runaways. That is our highest figure. Then we also deal with kidnappings. also family and parental abductions, and we also do have our confirmed human trafficking cases.
How are those cases looking like, Bianca, as current? Because, I mean, they're saying here that there's been a decrease in the number of children that have been found. So that means that there's a reason why these children are going missing. And looking at those figures of human trafficking, which is always also seen to be on an increase, how are we faring there?
Yes, our human trafficking cases is not as high at the moment because human trafficking actually it's a very broad definition. So it's very difficult to pinpoint some of our cases to say that it's definitely human trafficking, as human trafficking is a broad definition when it comes to certain cases.
Okay, but then what does that mean? Does that mean that, because if you have to narrow it down, if I'm a parent, right, and my child goes missing, should I be afraid that my child has been kidnapped by someone who's going to be pimping them out at the age of 12 or 13 to use them as a sex worker in some foreign country that I can't get to? Perhaps that's my question, is are we able to trace exactly what happens to these children should they go missing?
Yes, human trafficking cases is a global problem. So the first thing when a child do go missing, we do think of human trafficking first because it's such a big issue. It depends on where the child actually has gone missing and what the circumstances are around that, whether it will be a human trafficking case or not, but it has to be investigated and it has to be taken seriously and it has to be followed up.
Well, I'm going to bring you into this conversation there, Stephanus. With the cases that you guys investigate, you find the children, right? Well, 76 to 80% of the time you find the children. What have you, from your expertise and from the cases that you've discovered, where do these children go?
Let me just put one thing straight. I mean, if we say a child goes missing or 5 children or whatever.
One every 5 hours.
One every 5 hours or whatever. We're working on a global figure of saying one per day or whatever. The problem is that as far as I'm concerned and from experience, I can tell you that in 80% of the cases where children are reported missing to the police, it's runaways. But the most important factor that we must take into account, we don't know what happened to that child, whether it's human trafficking or what category to put that child in until we find the child. So
when you found the child, what happens then?
That's the most important thing that we must reiterate, that people, there's no 24-hour waiting period to report to the police. We especially left that out. In other countries overseas, it's 48 hours, 24 hours. We found that with the criminal activity, we don't know what happened to that child, so we must immediately start investigating. So if we find the child and the child just ran away, it's a success, because that child was we're actually preventing a crime as far as the South African Police Service is concerned. Because that child, when he or she runs away, they're vulnerable. There's bad people out there that will be opportunistic and take them or whatever. The crux of the matter is, in kidnappings, human trafficking and all those things, you're sitting with a criminal mind that plans the crime better than a bank robbery. And normally with kidnappings of children, it's somebody close to the family, in about 99% of the cases.
Really? So
the problem is that we as parents, I think prevention is better than cure. And if we can get to the stage where parents really know there is help, there is NGOs like Missing Children South Africa, there is the police, they can go to the police and the investigation must be done. We're souping up every day to try to get the police and the police get to really, there's still some...
Much more problems. So I want us to speak a little bit about the sweeping up, and Bianca, I'll bring you into the conversation as well. But when we're looking at another issue that you said has been a big concern for the SAPS currently is social media.
Oh, yes.
You're saying that social media is actually where the significant problem lies.
You see, that is the problem. And I'm not blaming parents. What I'm saying is that we as parents doesn't know what our children are doing on social media. We're not taking control. It's like giving a knife to a child and not warning him that it will cut you. Giving him a cell phone with all the facilities and a computer with all the facilities. The problem is, it's once a child goes missing, you must, through cybercrime and all those things, look into those pages and where the child visited and all those things. Wasn't this child groomed by an adult with false pretenses on job offers, you know, modeling contracts, all those things, which happens more and more every day.
So children get lured via social media.
We call it grooming.
So they groom
They groom
also,
them.
basically, it will be the same way as a pedophile would groom
That's
a child
right, yeah.
before they actually
And
take advantage of the
that's
child.
why I say previously it's a very good, well thought out plan of criminal activity. This guy groomed this child and whatever. Now, I said I won't blame the parent, but if we're ignorant and we don't have communication with our children, we will sit suddenly at the stage where this child goes missing or this child runs away and we don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Because my child is an angel, doesn't smoke, doesn't drink, you understand? In parents' eyes, that's the truth. And I believe
Look, you're
it
having
must be
very
like
honest
that.
conversations with me this morning, Colin. That a lot of times the parents think that my child is an angel, that my child will not hurt a fly, but meanwhile, my child is more and more vulnerable and susceptible to actually being kidnapped. Bianca, I want to bring you into this conversation right now, just looking at exactly the procedures, therefore, and some of the success stories that you have, and most importantly, how do we get parents help should a child go missing?
Yes, I do definitely agree. Social media is definitely a problem, and also it is a platform for these human traffickers and predators to actually lure the children. Parents do need to be more aware of what their children are doing, and also have an open relationship with them to know your child and know what they're up to, and that can actually be prevention rather than having to look for that missing child at the end of the day. Firstly, like he said as well, I just want to stress it that there's absolutely no waiting period to report a child as missing. The first thing to do is to go to your nearest police station and open a missing persons case. That is your SAPS 55 form with all the necessary details of that child that has gone missing. And as soon as that case is opened, please contact us so we can assist from our side straight away.
Well, thank you very much for that, Bianca. Bianca giving us information here, vital information. But what advice would you give to parents this morning, I mean, who are watching, or even those parents that have had a child that's missing and are feeling as though there is no help around for them?
Well, let's start with parents preventing their children. There's no thing that will prevent. There's a lot of things on the markets that they say, I'll put a band on the child or whatever and whatever.
They even have a leash now.
And it will prevent the child from going missing. I can assure everybody that there's no system or device or anything that will prevent the child from going missing. As I said before, it's a very good planned crime. If the child is abducted, the child will be kidnapped. It's normally somebody close to you and whatever. So the main thing is we as parents must really communicate with our children. Unfortunately, we got too busy. It's work, it's weekends, it's play, and the children are not involved in all those things. I'm again not blaming parents. What I'm saying is you must take control of your children. You must really bring up your children. We started believing that the stranger danger that must be taught to children must be done by school or the police through programs like Captain Crime Stop and those things previously, which is not true. The safety of your child starts in your house.